Welcome everybody to the Hatfield Township Board of Commissioners meeting. Today is our workshop meeting, April 8th, 2026, and it's 7:04 p.m. Call to order.
President Lestraco.
Here.
Vice President Partha.
Here.
Commissioner Andrus.
Here.
Commissioner DeLessio.
Here.
Commissioner Zipfel.
Here.
Okay, for our Pledge of Allegiance, I would love to have our Assistant Manager, Scott Hutt, and he said yes to me earlier that he would start us in the pledge. Thanks, Scott.
You could say something. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
That was excellent, Scott. Okay, next I'd like to entertain a motion for approval of our agenda. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second. Motion by Vice President Partha, second by Commissioner DeLessio. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Okay. Next, we have citizens' comments for agenda items only. If you'd like to come to the podium, any citizens' comments, please state your name and your address. No? Okay. All right, for our consent items, we would need a motion to enter into the record the Hatfield Volunteer Fire Company 2026 first quarter HTMA meeting minutes from February 10th, 2026, HTMA monthly budget report from March, the police report also from March 2026, and the North Penn Water Authority meeting minutes from February 24th. Do I have a motion to enter these into the record?
So moved.
Motion by Commissioner Zipfel.
Second.
Second by Commissioner DeLessio. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. Oh, okay. Sorry, before we get to the next item, we had an executive session prior to this meeting at 6 o'clock to talk about personnel. Okay. All right, we're going to go into committee reports. I'm going to call on Planning and Zoning Committee, Commissioner DeLessio.
Thank you, President Lestraca. I believe we have Maria Goretti representatives today who are going to talk to us about converting a convent into a public service building. So we'll just turn over to the applicants to present unless, Aaron, there's more context you think we need before they present to us.
Their slides, I have their feedback. So if you guys want to go to the podium, I don't know if you need a handheld mic or you guys would just use that one. This is fine. My mic's off.
Okay, well, good evening. My name is John McShay from the law firm Eastburn and Gray, here on behalf of St. Maria Goretti. With me to my left is Corey Wilson, engineer of the project. We have a couple of members of the parish here as well. So happy to present this preliminary final land development application, and looking forward to receiving any feedback you may have at this time and answer any questions. I'll provide just a quick introduction, a little bit of background, hand it over to Corey, and he can go through some more of the details of the plan and some of the comments we've received in the review letters thus far. So this is obviously the church's property, 1601 Durstein Road, has frontage along Durstein, Cowpath Road, and Berge Road as well. It's a approximately 15, 16 acre property. It's dual zoned in the RA1 residential district and also the ER state residential zoning district. As was mentioned before, this is a preliminary final land development plan where the church is proposing to demolish the existing convent building and construct a new parish center building for use by its parishioners for social events and other related activities. Luckily, the church's congregation is growing, and they are in need of more space in order to house these type of activities for their congregation. And this building, two-story parish center, will accomplish that. They did go to zoning and received zoning approval back in December of 2025. we can go through that decision if you'd like, but essentially, the zoning hearing board confirmed that that convent building is an existing non-conforming structure. They gave a special exception to allow an extension of that building. They granted a variance from the impervious surface, and they granted a variance for parking. One of the conditions placed by the zoning board was that no use shall be made of this new parish center building during church service hours, except for use by children of the congregants. So that's one restriction placed on the proposed building by the zoning board. We've received review letters from the township's professionals and consultants, township engineer letter February 12th, 2026, and Bowman Engineering on February 9th, 2026. Proceeded and presented the plan before the Planning Commission in February. Did receive a recommendation for approval with certain conditions, which happy to discuss with you. Hand it over to Corey in a moment, but I think the way in our review of the letters, there's about 3, maybe 4 issues that jump out to us, and one I wanted to touch on was this issue of providing sidewalks as part of the land development, and those sidewalks would be required along Cowpath Road, the frontage of Cowpath Road and Durstine Road, which is quite a bit of frontage, but initially there was a request for a waiver. There was a recommendation from the Planning Commission to grant a waiver with a fee in lieu of attached to that waiver. We understand with some feedback and discussion with the township staff that rather than a waiver, which wasn't looked upon favorably, we requested deferral of that requirement, which we're here requesting tonight as part of this plan. It'd be a deferral of the requirement for a sidewalk. And the basis for the request is really twofold. It's cost and timing. It'd be a significant cost for the church and would require timing for fundraising, but also for design to acquire any necessary permits. And so it is a deferral request that we want to discuss with the board here tonight. Some of those other issues that we wanted to discuss were related to some handicap striping, detectable striping along some of the access to the sidewalk along Berge Road, and recreational land, 5% of the recreational land, which is required under the Saldo. So I hand it over to Corey. He can get more into some of those details, but I'll be here as well to answer any questions.
John?
Thank you, John. I think it's a presentation
Which one do you want, Corey?
for BOC compressed. It's that PDF.
Oh, compressed, sorry. I don't read that well. Hold on.
It's quite a file size.
Okay. Yes, we did learn that today. Hold on, let me give you a full screen. All right, it's yours.
So this is an overview of the existing property. As John mentioned, it's approximately 16 acres. The site is bisected by approximate 2 zoning districts, both residential. You can see how that kind of bisects our proposed development. Oh, perfect. Thank you. So you can see that is that approximate line, and we were over an impervious in the RA1. That's how we had needed sooner relief. This is a rendering of the site. So let me take a step back, actually. The existing convent building is basically underneath the footprint of the new parish center. The existing convent building is approximately 3,000 square feet. The new parish center will be 9,000 square feet. The building is served by an underground stormwater system that is in the adjacent parking lot. Some additional site improvements is we have, paving that's connecting the church to the new parish center and some new utilities. This is the area that we did lose parking for, a new transformer and some HVAC equipment. Other improvements is, we have some additional sidewalks in the front of here. The new parish center, I know John mentions it's a two-story building. There will be a basement. Upstairs will be offices, and downstairs will be meeting rooms, a social hall, and a kitchen.
9,000 square feet is just the first floor or a combination of three?
That's just the building footprint. So the gross floor area, it's tough to see on here, but it's, I don't know, I think Eric here, he's the architect, he can,
So it's 9,000 first floor, 9,000 second floor, 9,000 basement?
Yeah, a little less than 9,000 on the second floor.
Okay.
Probably like 4,000 or 5,000, and then 2,000 in the basement.
Can you repeat that in the microphone so that the video can capture that answer?
I could pull it out and get the exact figures, but just off the top of my head, I'd estimate about 2,000 in the basement, and I think about 4,000 on the second floor.
Thank you.
And it's replacing existing, just a total of 3,000 square foot convent.
yeah, the existing convent building is approximately 3,000 square feet.
The convent has 2 stories.
So the convent is 6,000? Okay.
These are a little blurry, so I'm just going to stick to the rendering. That's basically the development. We are in receipt of Brian and Bowman's review letters. Like John mentioned, the majority of it is will comply. There is a few items. I know there is a landscaping item that we have to work with. I reached out to Brian just yesterday, but hopefully the next week or so I can work with his landscape architect to, I think we need to add some additional street trees and some additional buffering plantings, but there's plenty of room on site for us to, meet that need. We may need a waiver just to where we place that, because there's a lot of existing vegetation and trees on site, and we don't want to plant a new tree that's, right next to an existing mature tree. So just the placement of that might not fit perfectly into the, the sourdough. But obviously we can meet the quantity requirements. That's it. I'll open up to any questions.
How many parking spots are you losing?
We're losing 4, so we're going from 244 to 240.
And that's 240, both at the church and next to the whole parking lot space where the gym is and all those things, right? It's 240 total.
Yes, it's for the existing site. So currently on site, there's the existing church building, the existing rectory, the existing convent to be demolished, and the existing school that is, no longer functioning as a school. So it's a shared parking situation on the site.
Thank you.
I have a few questions about the sidewalk. Before I do, though, I want to, at least recognize that I'm a member of St. Maria Goretti and have been for many years, but I've had no involvement in, I'm not a part of the construction committee or anything else like that. So, so let me ask you, because that's kind of one of the concerns that we have, right? And so you shared with us that you're looking for a deferral. What's the length of the deferral that you're looking for?
Yeah, so the initial thought was 10 years, which I understand it would be quite a lengthy deferral, but the reason would be, obviously, it's a nonprofit entity. They need to start fundraising, but they want to get the project started. And the longer that's delayed, the more the costs go up for the rest of the project. So, in addition, there's the thought that there's a real possibility that putting those sidewalks in is going to take us over an acre of disturbance, which would require an MPDS permit. That's going to take 6 months to a year to obtain. There are existing wetlands on the property that the sidewalk would need to cross, and that might require, and likely would require, some DEP permits. That's going to take at least a year to get. There might need to be bridge design to get over some of those wetlands. So 100% willing to put it in and comply with the sidewalk requirement. Just that requirement is going to take a good amount of time for engineering, permitting, fundraising.
So just for clarity, just for people who are either here or watching, because we stream our shows. I'm not sure why anyone would ever watch them, but they do. And although I know you guys do. A deferral, just so there's clarity, is exactly what it sounds like. You're just deferring the project, that portion of that construction piece, to another date, right?
That's right.
And so it's a commitment to actually put in sidewalks, but just at a future date.
There would be, exactly right, there would be a commitment to put the sidewalk in.
And from what you just told me, the difference between having to put them in now, the sidewalks, would postpone by your estimate, anywhere from, I'm sorry, you said a number of months to upwards of a year. Is that, and the DEP considerations would be on top of that year? Would be an additional year?
So we haven't gone and spoken, and maybe I might be talking at a school. I'll let Corey jump in there.
Yeah.
Yeah, so there would be some considerable time for surveying, design, engineering, and then attaining the NPDES permit. So that could take anywhere from 12 to 15 months. Obviously, we would have, a review process with Brian and Bowman, because it is kind of there's a traffic component to that with the crosswalks over the driveway. So, yeah, at this moment, it's probably a 12 to 15 month, potential process.
Couple other quick questions. I suspect those other questions as well from other commissioners. When, assuming that you get a deferment, when do you think construction might begin? What's the hope of when construction might start? This year or next year?
For the project total or the sidewalks?
Project as a total. I'm not talking about sidewalks anymore.
Right.
I'm talking about the project as a whole.
This year is what I'm hearing.
Sometime in 2026. Okay. And you know what? I think it's probably relevant to say, what's the parish hall going to be used for? If anyone's wondering what's the use of this building?
So social events, related activities for congregants. Is there anything else you guys you want to add?
So just to speak to that, right now,
We have,
Sir.
could you use the microphone? Thank you.
So right, to speak to that, right now, the congregation, if it's not for mass, if it's for a meeting, we have to meet in a gym. So it's not really conducive to this, this new building will allow us to meet in a proper meeting space with microphones, lighting, video equipment. So it'd be a huge upgrade for us.
And I'm just, because I know the project, because, I've seen it before and whatnot. As I understand it, there's also going to be offices inside this building, is right?
Right, on the second floor of that building would be offices.
So that's the offices for the entire parish and for what is the former school as well?
Correct.
There's the staff of the parish will be housed there.
That's correct, yeah, on the second floor, the priest, all the staff, the school, everything will be on the second floor. So we'll all be together, and, we'll all be under one roof. There'll be meeting rooms downstairs. There'll be a bridge that will connect it to the church, because the other part about the gym that's important to know, it's on the complete opposite side of this property. So in inclement weather, people have to walk all the way around. Some people, they just want to drive. They're just going home. They're not fighting through that. Now you just walk, and it will be a covered walkway. So it's really going to be helpful for our elderly parishioners. I mean, this will all be handicapped. This will be all up to date. I mean, the school and the gym is 1954. I mean, we've gotten our money's worth out of that one.
I think that's all I have for right now.
I have a question, but maybe it's largely to Brian. I'm just looking at the review letter, and there was something about 5% of the tract area must be offered for dedication as recreational lands. And I didn't hear you folks talk about or show on here where those lands would be in relation to the development site.
Sure. So that was, and forgive me, I did have my notes to mention that, but that's something that we are going to request a waiver from. The reason being, as we read that requirement in the SAUDO, it's applicable to a residential development and for building homes. And while we are residentially zoned, this is a religious use. We do have existing fields on the property which have historically been used by the public, and we work regularly with the public, allowing them to use those fields. The church would continue to do so, but we are going to request a waiver from that requirement, or in the alternative, a fee in lieu of.
Is there currently a restriction that you can't develop that baseball field?
Do you have a question?
Nothing like that?
Not to my understanding, to my knowledge. There's no restriction.
Okay.
I don't think the church, wants to. They would
I get
prefer
it.
to keep it as is.
Okay, understood.
Any flexibility on the length of the deferral? That's quite a long time, and costs will go up, so your cost to build the sidewalks will go up.
There definitely is, and we'd be obviously very open to speaking with the township or the board about a time period they would feel comfortable with. But we've trying to allow ourselves a runway to, fundraise and be able to handle all the costs that are associated with getting the approvals and construction and design.
But you'd be able to come up with the fee in lieu of for the waiver on the 1 acre. Right, that would be an incremental cost that you don't need to fundraise of. You're prepared for that, asking for the waiver off the 5% track? Wasn't that, or it's just a straight waiver, no fee in lieu of?
We are asking for a waiver. If the waiver wouldn't be granted, it wasn't on our initial request, I don't believe, so I don't think Brian had a chance to comment on that. But if the waiver weren't granted, we'd be asking for a fee in lieu of.
Commissioner, if I may, usually between the workshop and the voting meeting, our office prepares a resolution, and we talk about fees in lieu in that resolution, and usually work with the developer. Staff comes up with a recommendation that we share with the commissioners. So that's something that we can share with you between now and the next meeting before you vote, both on the deferral of the sidewalks, the length of time for that, the waiver request that they're asking for Park and Rec. We do have a fee in our ordinance for non-residential developments such as this, and or a waiver of that. All those considerations are things that we can discuss with the applicant and then share with you for your consideration at the next meeting.
Thank you, Solicitor. Do we treat this as non-residential? Even though it's zoned RA-ER?
It's a non-residential application.
It should be, it's not commercial, right? It should not be commercial. No?
It's not
It's-
commercial, but I thought it was it's residential land.
It's the type of application, not necessarily the zoning district. But we'll take a look at it. It is split zoned. This is a clever piece of property, oddly shaped, but those are the kinds of things that we'll discuss and then come back to you with a recommendation.
Okay.
So your main concern was, if I understood correctly, so concern was they starting the project with waiver so that your cost is minimum, like you guys not to wait for starting the project, right?
Yeah, so we want to be able to, the church wants to be able to get started as soon as possible on the project as a whole, while giving themselves a runway to be able to kind of fundraise and things like that for costs related to the sidewalk.
And Brian, regarding the waiver for the sidewalk, right? So as the ongoing, I think they submitted. So what I want to know, like, if they want to like waiver for them, what is the impact for this one? Either it would be heavily impacted for the resident or the people who will be there, or if it is not put there. So what is the pros and cons, something like that?
Well, the location of this tract is there's no sidewalks right now on the frontage. With the ball fields there that do get used by other groups, it seems like it'd be a good spot to have sidewalks and pedestrian connectivity. So we understand the circumstances with financing and timing and whatnot, but a deferral would effectively just push it down the road a bit, and it's a matter of how long is the board comfortable with pushing it down the road if a deferral was to be considered. We traditionally haven't done deferrals. It's typically either sidewalk gets put in, or if it's a tract, whether it's a land development or a small subdivision where there's no sidewalk in the area and nothing is really needed, the township has taken a fee in lieu. And that fee gets put into a specific fund that the township set up years ago specifically for pedestrian paths throughout the township. So those two options, either put it in or do a fee in lieu, that's the way traditionally things have been. To my recollection, we haven't done deferrals, in large part because it does get a little sticky as to how long do you want to make it for, a year, 2, 5, whatever, and then what do? Do you escrow for it? Do you make them design it now? It kind of just mushrooms into a lot of potential issues that more often than not, the applicant is hoping to avoid by asking for the deferral. But for the township, in terms of protecting the township, it just is, there's a lot of different things that we need to consider in order to make sure that the sidewalk does go in eventually. And because we haven't done a whole lot of them, I can't say, oh, we do this, this, and this. You know, we guarantee it for this amount of time and this amount of money, and we do, you know, we add for inflation or whatever. We just, traditionally, it's either you do the sidewalk or you do the fee and lieu. Here, it's understandably a bit complicated because they have a lot of frontage, particularly on Durstein Road. So, you know, I do understand the dilemma, but we do not have a clear-cut process if a deferral was to be granted. But in terms of your question as to, you know, where does the sidewalk fall in terms of need or public involvement, you know, obviously, it'd be nice for people to be able to walk from A to B when you consider the two roads are fairly busy roads. So I think that from a planning perspective, certainly it's needed. I think the applicant recognizes that, and that's why they're willing to discuss it with the township.
So am I correct that right now, looking at this photo, across the top along Durstein, there is sidewalk until right till you get to your property at the and then the sidewalk stops? Yes. And then there's nothing to the corner, though there are ramps for the blind at these corners that have been pre-built anticipating sidewalks. And then there's no sidewalk along your frontage all the way down. But if your cursor were to continue down right there, start sidewalk the whole rest of the way, there's sidewalk there. But also if you go back to the corner, if you may, if you start there and if you were to go down off the page, that's where sidewalk also starts and continues all the way through the township and into the borough. So it really is, there's sidewalk coming all the way from all the other residential around until right till we get to your property. Yeah?
Yeah, that is correct, yes.
No further questions.
Okay, any other questions here? No? Thank you so much for coming, and we'll get back with you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay.
Second, go ahead. Mrs. Michaelin?
Yeah, do you want me
Yeah.
to throw that over to me?
Sure.
An illustration. Commissioners, you may recall this second item was presented in February of this year. I'm going to give you a visual. Just as a reminder, this was the site of the seminary for the dorms of the seminary for years, and then purchased by Advanced Living, which then was converted into apartments for individuals transitioning from homelessness into learning the ability to live independently.
And then at one point, Habitat for Humanity had the property under agreement, and then that did not come to fruition. And then in February, the applicant was here presenting this plan. Some of the feedback at the time was there was an interest in seeing more parking available on the street. So the applicant was able to modify this plan and increase the amount of parking on the street by shifting around some of the hydrants and other features along the road. So at this point, it's been discussed, Planning and Zoning Committee. We believe that this could go, if the commissioners would like to see this on the next agenda for consideration. There's been no other changes to the plan since it was presented, except for the addition of parking.
3 spots, right?
3
3
spots.
got added.
Yep.
Yeah, sounds good.
They moved them from in front of the houses to against the basin. Will they be striped so that they really can get that much parking in? Do you know? Or that's too soon to ask a question?
They certainly can be. I don't think we usually do that.
Often on residential roads, they
we don't
aren't
do that.
because
Okay.
they're not popular, but.
Right.
Yeah.
But it can easily be done.
Are we maintaining that road, or is that a HOA?
That'll be a homeowner association, would be private road, yeah.
Right.
So the applicant is here, if you have any additional questions.
He's willing to paint it if you want it.
You want to pay?
I have one more, Brian, and sorry to catch you cold on this, but because the cul-de-sac is small, there was a requirement that for an easement to push snow in the winter onto a space. And I thought I read in the review letter it had to be 50 feet, but I noticed on the drawing they were only annotating the space up in the cul-de-sac at the top at 20 feet. And so I just wondered if it's 20 or 50.
It's 20 feet deep and 50 feet.
It is 50 feet wide, so they did meet the requirement, okay.
Yep, and it is at the end of the cul-de-sac. On this plan, it's at the top,
Yeah, right.
straddling lots 9 and 10.
Yep.
And also, just to make sure we're clear on terminology, the cul-de-sac is, the bulb itself is 100% compliant in terms of the radius. There was previous discussion about the cul-de-sac length. And it is actually slightly longer than the ordinance allows. That's what one of the waivers is for. Otherwise, it is compliant with the geometry needed for that turning area in the bulb.
In the bulb,
Yeah.
okay. Thank you.
Yep.
No other questions from me?
Turning radius for a car or for a bus or for a truck?
Trucks.
Tractor trailer?
Fire truck.
Fire truck, okay.
Yeah.
It is, and just to kind of drive it home, the radius is no different from any of the other cul-de-sacs that we've approved in the last 20 years.
President Lestracco, if there's no other questions, then I would imagine we will have this on the agenda with a resolution prepared by our solicitor's office for consideration at the
Yes.
regular meeting.
Yep, that would be good. Anybody else have any questions? Okay, yep, then we will move that forward to the next meeting. Thank you. The next agenda item, we're going to skip the Public Works Committee report, but we're going to have Commissioner Zipfel help us with some updates for the Hatfield 250.
Okay. I'm hopeful that most people have heard that Hatfield has a 250 committee for the semi-quincentennial, I always have to say that carefully and slowly, for our country this year. And we've had a number of events already, and dawned on me with a lot of events coming up, it makes total sense for us to announce them here. Obviously, 250 Committee is a nonprofit. It's not a part of Hatfield Township directly, but is a nonprofit being supported by the township and the borough. And there are a number of different people who are a part of the township supporting that in a number of different ways, and greatly appreciate it. And so the committee I'm going to go through the next 5 events that are between now and kind of the beginning of June, so people know that they're coming up, and because I'd really like people to attend these, not only because of the wonderful opportunity, but also because then if they miss them, I think when they find out that they could have gone to them, they're going to regret it because a number of these are very good. So the first one coming up on Monday, April 13th, just a few days from now, here at the Township Building at 7 p.m., again, April 13th at 7 p.m., is a talk about, it's called Privateering After Dark, and the speaker is Sam Siegel. So this is how privateers spoke and acted on such topics as human trafficking, violence, alcoholism, warfare, and medical procedures during the colonial times. It's actually, I've seen a bit about it. It's very interesting. Ironically, this is the only one that is adults only, because the context of the conversation is certainly meant for adults more so. So again, Privateering After Dark, April 13th, 7 p.m. Saturday, April 25th, and this is the one I think is probably going to get more attention, hopefully, is between 10 a.m. and 1 p.m. here at the Township Building, is an event for the Children's History Experience. It is the hands-on learning of colonial crafts. Definitely recommended for grade school age children. Again, April 25th, 10 to 1 here at the Township Building, Children's History Experience. May 11, also here at the Township Building. There's going to be a panel discussion of local historians and clergy as to the topic is who supported the War for Independence, who didn't, and why. So for those of you history geeks out there, myself included, May 11th, 7 p.m. here at the Township Building for that discussion panel. Two more events. Next is Saturday, May 30th. This is our big outdoor event before the July 4th excitement. May 30th, 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. at School Road Park. It is our Living History Day. Sadly, our Living History Day was totally swamped out last year because of rain. This year, there will be no rain. I'm convinced of it. And it is colonial craft demonstrators, American and British reenactors, songs and stories, and colonial games. So this is our small version of Williamsburg. So please come on out on that day, May 30th, 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. I'm committing the township to no bad weather that day. I'm not sure how I can do that, but I am going to, if we have to do a resolution or otherwise, I'm prepared to convince everyone to vote for it. Living History Day, May 30th. And then last for this announcement, and we'll have more, is June 22nd at the Township Building. Actually, this is a great one. This is just added. June 22nd through July 4th is the American Revolution Experience Traveling Exhibit by American Battlefield Trust. It's presented by the Towamencin DAR, Daughters of American Revolution, and it features 3 interactive kiosks, 12 thematic display panels, and unique artifacts of historical figures. So that is going to be here all of those, or not all those days, but during that period, June 22nd through July 4th, traveling exhibit of American battlefields. And then at future meetings, we'll give more we'll be more specific on the dates and the times. All right. And then last but not least is, of course, the July 4th excitement. We'll get into that when we get closer in time. Should be a lot of fun. There's going to be a lot going on that day. All right. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you so much. That was great. Okay, I'm going to go into the Parks and Rec Committee report. So for our Get Fit classes, we have summer fitness classes coming up. Zumba will be Sundays at 9 a.m. at the Township Building, and that's the mini summer session, May 31st to June 14th. We have Remix, that's Mondays, 7 p.m. here at the Township Building, and the mini summer session will be June 1st to June 15th. Yoga will be Thursdays, 7 p.m. at the Township Building, and the mini summer session will be June 4th to June 18th. And then Aqua Zumba, June 22nd to August 17th. That will be on Mondays, 7 p.m. to 8 p.m. at our Aquatic Center. And the prices may vary for the classes, and please check out the information and register at hatfield.org. And then we have pickleball. People are really excited about this one. For spring, summer, and fall, registration is open for the spring and summer, and also fall, April 6th to October 30th. So get online now, because that's going to fill out. Mondays to Fridays, 8 a.m. to 2 p.m., and that's at our Hatfield Pickleball Courts at 2500 North Chestnut Street. And you can register for that at hatfieldrec.com. And events coming up, we have, not to take away from the Hatfield 250, but you can do all of it, different dates. First one is our annual Earth Day event, and that's scheduled for Saturday, April 18th. 2 collection sites will operate from 8 a.m. to 12 p.m. At the Public Works Complex, and then Clean Earth will be there. We will also host several cleanup sites throughout Hatfield Township, trails, and open space. And if you're interested in volunteering, please email Ashley. Her email is abroudy@hatfield.org. And we'll have more details coming up this month. So look for that information for the Earth Day workshop. This other Earth Day workshop will be pollinators, and that's pollinators that help our garden grow, Saturday, April 18th as well, but it's 2 p.m. to 3 p.m., and that's here at the Township Building. And there'll be family fun, honeybees, beekeeping, pollinators that help our gardens and food grow, and you'll learn about honey and how it's made, discover simple ways to support pollinators at your house, and perfect for curious kids, gardeners, and nature lovers. So that's great for all ages. We also will have plant exchange and garden party, and this is where we will dig up any excess plants from your garden, and you can bring them to our annual plant exchange event and trade with neighbors. Mix, mingle, and come party with plants and people. We will have Ask the Experts, and those are experts in landscaping, home gardening, and more will be available to assist you and answer all of your questions, talk about home gardens, water runoff, native plants, and other topics. And that will be Saturday, May 16th from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. And that's, again, here at the Hatfield Township Building. And then if you want to put this in your phones on your calendar for the summer, for Music Feast, summer concerts, we have our dates June 29th, and that concert is Challenge Accepted. July 27th, Chico's Vibe. August 10th, Barefoot Bobby and the Breakers, and August 24th is Harvest Moon. And those are all Mondays, and that's 6 p.m. to 8 p.m., School Road Park. And also we'll have food on sale, and we will have the Scouts also providing food for sale. And then we have a special Friday night concert that will be Friday, July 17th, and the concert will be Real Diamond, and that will be in coordination with the Parks and Rec Celebration Month. So you can get that all on your calendars. So you're ready to go. I'm going to call on Vice President Partha for the Public Safety Committee report.
Thank you, President Lestrico. Thank you, Chief, for preparing the report. Thank you. It's a detail. Hatfield Police Department Executive Summary Report for March. In March 2026, the Hatfield Police Department responded a total of 3,227 calls for the services, reflecting continued proactive policing and operational activity. The department had a total of 12 Part 1 crime, representing a 50% increase compared to March 25th, and 21 Part 2 crimes, that's reflecting a 9% decrease from the previous year. The increase of Part 1 crimes is directly attributed to a burglary pattern, which was successfully investigated and results to arrest of a responsible suspect, demonstrating effective investigative response and a crime resolution. And thank you to our police department. Traffic safety efforts shows significant improvement during March 2026. There was a total of 49 vehicle crashes, resulting a 32% decrease from 72 crashes in March 2025. Of these, 7 crashes was reportable, accounting of 14% of total crashes. This year-to-date data shows a 19% reduction in reportable crashes compared to 2025. Officers conducted 460 traffic stops and 360 selective enforcement details, resulting in 331 warnings and 173 summons issued. Additionally, the department conducted a DUI enforcement details and focused traffic enforcement initiatives, reinforcing roadway safety and impaired driving prevention. Community engagement remained a key priority throughout the march. Officers conducted 917 community engagement patrol activities, resulting in a 20% increase compared to March 2025. In addition to routine engagement, Hatfield Police Department participated in several key initiatives during the month, including in March 4, they attend like Delville College Career Fair, March 11, Safe School Meeting, March 12, PAL Meeting, March 18, Neighborhood Watch Meeting, March 21st, K-Night to Shine Dance, March 24th, Hatfield Elementary Internet Safety Presentation, March 28th, No King Protest Details. This effort is highlighted. The Hatfield Police Department continue commitment to proactive enforcement, effective investigation, traffic safety, and strong community partnership. And thank you, Chief, to lead the department. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Vice President Partha. I'm just going to go over the Finance Committee report. I want to thank Aaron Bebro for putting this together, and of course, our Finance Committee. The township's financial position right now is stable. As we move into the second quarter, following the close of the first quarter on March 31st. At this stage, there are no significant budget variances to report, and overall revenues and expenditures are tracking in line with expectations. Tax bills were distributed earlier this year, and we are pleased to report that a strong number of residents submitted their payments during the discount period. This early response is a positive indicator for cash flow and reflects continued engagement from our community. So thank you. On the expenditure side, spending remains consistent with the adopted 2026 budget. Departments continue to manage their operations responsibly while maintaining service levels across the township. And in addition, the township continues to monitor the financial status of the new police station project. As we approach project closeout, we are awaiting a final decision on our $3.25 million grant application through the Pennsylvania Redevelopment Assistance Capital Program. Once that determination is received, we will be in position to finalize the project's financials and complete the closeout process. Do we know how many weeks, months we might find that out?
As far as the grant,
Yep.
we don't.
Okay.
It's up to the
Still
governor's
waiting.
office.
Okay, thank you very much. And the township will continue to monitor revenues, expenditures, and overall financial performance closely as we move through the second quarter. All right, I'm going to move on to the township staff reports, township manager report.
Thank you, President Lestracco. Just a few housekeeping items tonight for the board and for the community. Schedule-wise, we are, as of now, planning on having another public hearing for the Pulte conditional use application at the April 22nd meeting. So we will then have our regular meeting at 6:30 that evening, and we'll advertise that accordingly. I believe that is still scheduled as of now. So we'll be here 6:30 to do the business of the township before we get into the hearing for the conditional use application at 7. Thank you. You may start to see some of the roads that the commissioners have approved the bids last meeting to be paved. You'll see work happening throughout those areas. Our public works crew working diligently to repair all of the stormwater inlets and do all the prep work before the paving companies come through shortly thereafter. One other note, too, that is of interest of many, many people. We will be launching our registration platform for the Aquatic Center. Scott, do you want to give a date or no? Soon, we'll say?
Tomorrow.
Tomorrow. So we are switching softwares this year. We are going to a platform that requires pictures, proof of residency. So there will be a little more work required from our members. But in the end, we will ensure that people are paying the proper rates, that the township's collecting the proper revenue, and we believe that it will be a good system moving forward. So, but bear with us when it's launched. There may be a few hiccups, and we know the community's antsy because any Facebook post we put out there that has nothing to do with the Aquatic Center, every comment underneath is, when is the Aquatic Center opening, and when did the registration begin? So. Just because you register doesn't mean you can swim any earlier. It's still going to be a Memorial Day open, so you'll have 6 weeks at least to register. You can always register at the facility at any time as well once it opens. So that is coming soon, and that's all I have, Commissioners, for this evening.
Thank you so much.
Sure.
Okay, we'll move on to solicitor's report.
All is well, nothing to report.
Thank you so much. Citizens' comments. If you'd like to make a comment, please come on up and state your name and address. Seeing none, I will move to adjournment. Do I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved?
Moved by Commissioner DeLacio, second by Vice President Partha. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, we are adjourned. Thank you.